I want you to get together.
Language is pretty clear in the Bible sometimes, though. Like the problems with Revelation, you can be interpreted with a lot of this. Some people say it's
Yes.
completely symbolic. Some people say no, that it's half symbol, half truth. And but then this is where we have our issues, isn't it? This is where our interpretive issues come from. But
Yeah.
we do have direct quotes from the Gospels from Jesus himself, for example, where he says something like, "And he said unto them, Verily I say unto you, there shall be some of them that stand here which shall not taste death till they have seen the kingdom of God come with power."
Yes.
How are we supposed to reinterpret that symbolically?
I'm at the point now where I'm just no, he was talking to the people who were standing there with him.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly certain about that now.
Hmm.
As for, how to even interpret Revelation, I came across a series of videos. I don't know if the man who does them is a partial preterist, maybe, but he has a great Revelation series. And what he was saying, the way that Revelation was written, is that it was written for the people of that time. And they would have understood exactly what they were talking about in Revelation. Because if you look at us, think of the political cartoons and things that we use. People of today understand what it means because we're living during this time. And that's exactly how the people of that time period would have read Revelation. They would have understood it. And the reason it was written that way was because it was written for them.
Hmm.
So I thought that was really interesting.
Well, we know it was written for them specifically because it even
Yes.
says here in Revelations 22:10, "Seal not the sayings of the prophecy in this book, for the time is at hand." That's basically saying,
Yes.
John, go and tell everybody what you just learned. Like
Yes. Like immediately get
it's
out there
yeah,
now.
it's
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
Go. Like, and never mind that. I mean, Revelation. I mean, this is Jesus giving the revelation to John. This is Jesus's
Mhm.
words at the end of it. That's how we should understand it. Uh, okay, Revelations 22, 7, 12, 26, and 10, if people are wondering, okay? And even Revelations 1, 3, and 7 all say this: "Behold, I come quickly, and behold, I come quickly. Surely I come quickly, must shortly be done. The things which must shortly come to pass. The time is at hand. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, they also which pierced him."
Mhm.
How are you supposed to reinterpret that as symbolic?
I have had people tell me that what that means is just the descendants of those people. And I'm like, well, I don't know. But everything that you just listed, he could not have been more clear about the immediacy, the imminence of this. Yet, yes, people will change it. Even when it comes to, I was it Revelation 1:1 where he said that these things must happen quickly. And I went to a Bible study at a church that I used to go to. And I remember at the Bible study, they said, well, quickly doesn't mean quickly. Quickly just means that once it starts happening, it's going to then it will be happen in a quick manner. And I was so confused. And I was still a baby Christian at this point. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to take their word for it.
Mhm.
But he actually goes over this in that Revelation series. He goes over the actual Greek meaning of what the word quickly is, and it does not mean, you know, whenever it starts, it will happen quick. It means like right, very, very soon. That's what it
Mhm.
means.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, one of the main arguments I always get, obviously, the fallback argument is we can't possibly be living in the tribulations because we are seeing, sorry, the little season, because we are seeing tribulation happen now.
Hmm.
Okay, and my go-to argument is, okay, well, if it is the little season and Satan controls everything, including the media, everything you see, and hear with your senses, through that respect, and has every resource at his disposal, and all the money, wealth, and power, and an army of people physically to do his bidding through these secret societies and through all this type of thing. Do you think maybe they could perhaps make it look like tribulation was happening? That's my go-to. That's my go-to
Yes.
response. I mean, what? How do you deal with that one? What's your go-to
Yes.
response?
I have said that also, and another thing that I tie in there is Ecclesiastes, where it tells us there is nothing new under the sun. What has been is going to happen again. And history is cyclical, and the Bible tells us this. And very often history is cyclical because man continues to do the same things over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I think that it's very possible that a tribulation like era is being orchestrated, intentionally orchestrated to
Mm-hmm.
deceive, because again, who is Satan? He is the father of lies. And Revelation 12:9 tells us that he sets out to deceive the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he wants to do. That's his goal, is to deceive everyone. And so I don't even know that it's any one specific thing. I think he wants to deceive people about everything, because when you question everything around you, what are you going to question, especially a Christian? They're going to start questioning, well, then how do we know the Bible is real?
Mm-hmm.
And that, a lot of people have asked me that. How do we know then, if everything around us is a lie, how do we know the Bible is real? And my response to that has been, if the creator of the universe wanted to take it upon himself to write what I would call a letter to us, a love letter to us, instructions for living, I believe that he would see to it that it was given to us in the form that he wants us to have it. And in fact, even if you have Satan behind everything around us being corrupted, he wouldn't even have to change the Bible, because all he would need to do is get people to question it.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't need to specifically change it himself.
No.
So, yeah.
Well, he would create a structure in his world which makes it seem like believing in the Bible is primitive and crazy and stupid. Yeah, and also, he wouldn't have to get rid of it, because all he has to do is just convince the Christians living in his time that they're living in the wrong time. That's all he would
Yeah.
have to do, which would cause people to lose faith when things don't necessarily go how it was planned out in tribulations.
Especially with the rapture, that's something that's worrisome. How many people will lose their faith if they see things that they specifically think are from the book of Revelations, but no rapture happened? How
Mm-hmm.
many people will lose their faith because of that?
Sadly, too many, because again, it's a poor foundation for your faith to think that you don't have to suffer.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
that's not what we're supposed to. We're not supposed to follow Jesus and believe in God so we get to not feel pain and be and get whisked away when things go south. That's not the point of it. We don't do it
Yes.
so we get stuff. We do it because it's truth. That's
Yes.
why that's the point. We don't do it
Yes.
for anything. We do it because it is the truth. That's all it comes down to. And to walk in the
Yeah.
truth is not easy. It's a pick up your cross, carry it. It's suffer. You're going to suffer. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. And again, the whole rapture deception is a sneaky one. That's what
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and was also a lot of really strange doctrines came about in the 1800s, which
Hmm.
leads you back to, okay, could that be when the short season began? Because a lot of these strange doctrines also began in the 1800s.
Hmm.
So it's just something else to ponder.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of, there was a topic you wanted to talk about today, and we're kind of on that now because we're talking about
Yes.
tribulation. I'll leave it to you to do your little presentation on this one. Go ahead.
I don't know that it's a presentation, but I was watching your video earlier, the Millennial Kingdom Q&A.
Hmm.
And the first question that someone asked was about the mark of the beast. And I had been browsing through a preterist website called Revelations in Grace. And what I actually found was that they have what seems to me to be a very good explanation of the mark of the beast happening around 70 AD. And it was during the time of Nero. And so what this said is that the mark of the beast actually has a spiritual and a physical component. So there are two components to the mark of the beast. And we know that much of scripture is like that. There are more than one meanings. There even with prophecy, there are more than one meanings. So spiritually, what the mark of the beast was loyalty to Rome and allegiance to the beast. Physically, during that time period, there were Roman coins and deeds with Caesar's image, and they forced the Jews of that time to use those things to buy and sell, which went against the law in Exodus and Deuteronomy, which says no graven images. And you had brought that up earlier about the graven images. Another interesting thing, do I want to bring that up now? Let me just think. Well, I'm just going to bring this up now because in Deuteronomy, another very interesting thing in Deuteronomy 6, verse 8, it says, tie them to your hands and wear them on your forehead as reminder. So this concept of the hand and the forehead does not happen only in Revelation. It happens several times where it is mentioned in the Old Testament. And what that means is it is symbolic of giving an allegiance to, are you giving your allegiance to God? Who are you following? Who are you worshiping?
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what it means, is that the specific hand and forehead thing, it doesn't mean like a chip in the hand or some kind of tattoo on the forehead or whatever you think. It specifically, was used multiple times in the Old Testament, and it just means whoever you are giving your allegiance to. Another thing was when the people worshipped Nero, and this is back to the physical aspect of it, the people who worshipped Nero were given a certificate or a mark of approval. And the word mark is the same word that was used in Revelation 13:16. And I'm probably going to butcher this, but it's charagma, CHARAGMA. It means mark, and it is the same word. So the mark of approval that people who worship Nero were given is the same word that is used when it comes to the mark of the beast. So as soon as I saw them ask that, I'm like, I know this. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I knew where I could find an answer for it. I'm not going to say the answer, but I'm going to say a possible answer, a possible explanation for this.
That's it's definitely squares. It can fit now with that narrative that we know that Nero did this. It can
Yes.
work that 70 AD was the time when it began. It's a good
Mm-hmm.
answer. It's a brilliant answer. Thanks for sharing. I appreciate it. Now I have
Oh,
an answer to share when people ask me as well. So I appreciate that. That's wonderful.
sure. Sure.
I hope you guys in the chat enjoyed that too. That's what we're here for. So another one again, which we always hear in terms of tribulation coming to pass, the mark of the beast, like you brought up there. They're always pushing propaganda in Hollywood that it can be many things. The mark of the beast, a chip is the most common one where you have to use it to buy and sell, and I feel like that they're always playing it. There's always a new mark of the beast. First it was barcodes, then it was chips. Do you know what I mean? Then it was the contactless payment and all this type of stuff, and it's always the goalpost always moves in our time because I don't believe we're going to see a true tribulation come to pass in our time if it is the little season. We're going to see echoes of it happening symbolically in the media or in certain things, and there'll always be those people who will stir everyone up and say, see, the signs are happening, Jesus is about to return. And I do think the repeated set the date because the signs are here, date comes and passes, Jesus doesn't come back, is to crush faith. That's the point, is to keep destroying that faith because people, well, they don't know where they are, so they don't know where we're actually going. So they're always going to be disappointed, and it is sad to see. But then another one that always gets brought up, and maybe I don't know if we can even talk about this one, but a particular state was made after World War II, which people point to being prophecy being fully fulfilled, as a specific people all came together and moved back into this land when that happened. I would argue again, because this is another one I get all the time, they can orchestrate that, and it does say those who say they are blank but are not, they are of the synagogue of Satan. That has been made clear
Yes.
many times, and that's a big one to say, though. That's a hard one to say in
Yeah.
this particular climate, especially right now. So I'm just,
It is.
yeah.
One thing that I will add without adding too much is that the word nation, when it comes to what you are talking about, nation is the word that is used is not referring to a geographical location.
No.
It is referring to a people.
Mhm.
So I think that's a very important distinction that people need to make, because a lot of the people who follow that idea, they are looking at it as a geographical location when that's not what that word means.
Absolutely. I agree. I could not agree more with
Yeah.
that statement. But I think that's
Yeah.
all we're probably allowed to say on that on this particular
Yes.
platform. So let's
Yeah.
move on.
I want you to get together.